Hey guys, this is Major from Kingdom 125, and I just wanted to share some quick tips with either my kingdom or hopefully it's my alliance listening. And today's topic is going to be joiners versus leads. And I'm going to be going over the primary roles and some of the things that you should be prioritizing based on your role within the alliance. Now, I normally see a lot of people going, hey, I'm going to be going after this stat, or hey, I'm going to be doing these things. And a lot of the things, in stats that you should be going for in the game should try and jive with what you're trying to accomplish for your alliance or for yourself in terms of, the pleasure of how you want to play the game. And typically those roles boil down to two, which are joiners and rally leads. So rally joiners, whether you're garrisoning or if you're helping out with an attack rally, are extremely important. Really good joiners really determine the outcome of a rally being successful or not. Because if you're a great joiner, then it really makes the job of the rally lead 10 times easier. Now, having good rally leads is extremely important, obviously, because you need that stat bonus, that rally lead. All of their stats are going to be applied to the rally. So I'm going to first talk about joiners here and their roles and things you should focus on, and then I'll move on to leads. So if you're a joiner here, the primary things that you're going to be focusing on should be really the primary hero joins, such as Chenko. You should be looking to get that top right skill to level 5. Same thing with Yeon Wu. You should be trying to get that top right skill to level 5 as well for joiners and bears. And then as a garrison, and that's for attacking rallies, and as a garrison, you should be trying to really get this guy's skill, Gordon, to level 5. I know a lot of people probably didn't prioritize Gordon, but the way that the stats work in terms of rally calculations, Gordon right now is the best. And with Helga's top right skill kind of does something similar. Gordon is the best garrison joiner. Now, if you're looking at your troop priorities and what you should be striving for in the game, I think it's no secret that the better the troop joiners, like the troop levels for the joiners, the better those are, obviously the better the rally is. So if your primary role in the game is rally joiner, then you should be really driving all of your focus to be getting your town center to as high as possible so that you can get the best troops as possible. So you're aiming for, obviously, in our kingdom, we're only at TG3, so you should be obviously aiming for TG3, minimum troop level 10. And so a lot of the things that you might either purchase if you spend a little bit, or the things that you would buy of training speed, or the things that you should prioritize for upgrading should always be focused on your troops, because the troops are going to let you be more effective in those rallies as a joiner. The next thing that I want to go over is gear priority. So a lot of people, I think, get caught up in the rat game of trying to upgrade their gear or trying to be a rally lead when in reality, you're really a joiner. And I'm a joiner, and I'm one of the higher powers in my alliance, but I know that at the end of the day, I am a joiner for our top rally leads. And that's perfectly fine for me. My role is slightly different. I'm kind of like a power joiner, where if I had to, I could call a rally, but it'll be significantly less powerful. So I'm kind of hybrid. I'm in this hybrid stuck role, but I'm sure that as my progression goes on, I'll just be more of a joiner as it comes through. And when you look at joiner gear, really what you should be focusing as a joiner with your hero gear is really spreading that hero XP out across your best heroes. And this is primarily for arena. Because in arena is going to let you, accumulate more mythic pieces. It's going to let you, compete a little bit higher. And sometimes what happens is that rally joiners who split their XP across their evenly across their different gear pieces, they will do better in arena if the rally leads have already converted some of their gear sets to red because they can't reset those gear pieces. And now they're kind of stuck with, 3 pieces that are extremely powerful, but maybe their other pieces aren't as powerful. Now, if they're mega whales, they're just going to have red gear for everything, so that doesn't really matter. But I'm just letting you know, if you're a rally joiner, like I am, then for your gear stuff, get away from being attached to having only one primary set. And I would say personally, try to have a nice top 5 set or top 6 set that has nice spread out XP, and for hammers, so that you can be a much better, have much better competition, like be able to compete more in arena to get better rewards. Next thing would be charms. Now again, like charms is such a sink in this game. Like it costs so much money to really upgrade these charms. And as a joiner, remember your hero gear, your stats, they're not going to be applied to the rally. So really you're going to be focusing on that rally lead. That person's stats going to be applied to a rally. So if you're trying to do, charms and you're low spend to free to play, just don't really worry about them. Be a joiner, upgrade them when you can for like strongest governor or KVK, do them when you can, but don't throw a lot of money at charms because there's probably going to be that rally lead who's sinking a lot of money into charms and they're just going to blow you out anyways. Similarly with here, governor gear, you can spend some money on governor gear and it actually, is a little bit cheaper in my opinion than charms, and it goes a decent way. But again, like if you're free to play or a low spend player, might as well just save that money in terms of, buying some of the packs that I'm going to talk about later. Now for pet priority here as a joiner, what you're going to be really looking at are going to be, in my opinion, the construction, which is the wolf, and the, so I would just do the wolf really. And then I'd be looking at my scent mastery for the cheetah, getting that so I can get more XP. I also like the food, honestly. I think this is really good for free to play because you can compete more on those beast kill events. You can call more rallies. And then obviously the ox is really good for getting you resources. If you're a rally joiner, there's no point in, maxing out your moose unless you're trying to just get some more stats and you've already maxed out these other pets here. So if you don't need the moose, if you're not a rally lead, then you don't really need to focus on that moose at all. Now for packs. If you're a rally joiner here, the primary packs that I would be focusing on, if you're going to spend it all, is going to be your True Gold pack here. I really like the Auto Hunt pack. I think it's a really, really good value. And your gear weekly card because gear gets so expensive, and then pet if you want to throw it in. But really, if you're just if you're a really low spend person, then it would be either the True Gold pack, in my opinion, and the Ultra Value monthly card, just because I like Auto Hunt, or you could even get in that gear weekly card, True Gold and gear weekly card, or maybe your Ultra Value pack right there. And then the last thing is going to be your events. The events that you really want to prioritize here as a joiner are going to be, those events that are going to, allow you to gain, those base level rewards of like, the charm stuff, the ones that are going to give you skill books and stuff like that, and hero shards. Those are the events that you really want to target at and you want to get to so that you can get those stars of your heroes up a little bit higher. And that will also extend here to arena, so that you can have better, let's say SSR heroes for arena. All right, now we're going to move on to leads or your mid-spend players. Your mid-spend to leads, your whale type players. Here's where it kind of gets a little bit different. If you're going to be a mid-spend to higher spend person, then the things that you're going to want to focus on are really going to be your gear, your charms, and your hero gear. So your governor gear, your charms, and your hero gear. These are going to apply a lot of pressure to your rally lead. And what you're gonna do here, these stats here, they're going to be applied to everybody within that rally, and they're going to obviously make it more likely for you to win. Now, that being said, what's going to happen to you is if you're not a really, really high spender, is you're going to have gear sets that are not going to be nearly as good. If you notice here, I have my Howard and I have my Hildy. Like, look, they're only level 1 on these because I'm, I'm like a mid-spend player, so I'm not pumping a lot of XP into here. Although where my Zoe and my Marlin and my Jable here, they have gear sets that are a little bit higher because I've tried to prioritize that. Now that I realize that I'm truly a joiner, I'm changing my focus to spreading my gear out, but I'm just letting you know. Now, your other top priority is going to be getting your heroes, like your SSR heroes, obviously to 5 petals. So if you don't have 5 petals, you need to be focusing on that as a rally lead, or especially as a rally lead, because it really makes a difference in these battles, getting all the way to the very top, because that's where you get these max expedition skills. So you notice Marlin maxed out here is 240% plus. Every gen new hero is going to have a higher base, let's say stat for expedition of attack and defense. So that's how the game keeps you spending, right, on heroes, is because each new hero that comes out is technically going to be better. Now, their skills might not be as good. That's why Marlin's probably going to be the best archer here, even through Gen 3. But, for example, Jable is definitely going to be kicked out by Petra, this next upcoming cavalry. Hildy's already better at Garrison, and then obviously Saul is not that great either. That guy's already been moved all the way down. So as a lead, you're going to want to make sure that you get those heroes as high as possible for the stars, and then focusing on those 3 things: governor gear, charms, and your hero gear. Hero gear is actually just something that you just can't, you have to throw a lot of money at this. I think it's some crazy numbers to actually get this to red or even max out your gear to level 200. It's a ridiculous amount of money. So it depends on your level of spend. But some tricks that you can do here as a mid spend to a rally lead is that you could, before big events here, you can actually, unequip, and then reforge this gear to get all that XP back. Obviously, don't do a mastery forgery for your hammers because you're going to get a much less return for that. You would do that only for your XP, the enhancement reforge. And what you could do is you could cannibalize that gear and then put it back into your main, and that might boost me up from, a Zoe level 90 on my chest piece to all the way to 100. And then when I'm done with it and I'm ready to do arena again, I would then reset that gear and put it back into my lower gear so that I have a higher chance to, be more successful in arena. Now, as a mid-spend, I'll talk about a mid-spend person for the packs, because obviously if you're a whale, you're just going to be buying everything, right? But as a mid-spend for the packs, obviously all of these weekly cards, you're just going to want to get. Except I don't really get the speed up weekly card, but if you can afford it, just go get it. These weekly cards, anything that gives you, stuff over time is always a good deal. Another thing too is with the daily deals. I would probably get this one over your speed up card, just because it gives you Hildy, and if you don't have that person maxed out yet, then I would absolutely do that. But these cards here, if you're mid spend to high spend, you just get these cards. Another one that you would get is the weekly deals and the governor enhancement deal. The one that for the governor gear that comes out, you're just going to get these. And if you're a mid spend player, you're probably going to go to level 6 or level 9. If you can just buy all the packs, if you're whaling it out, obviously you just go to 12. But getting these hero enhancement pieces here are really good for, obviously getting your gear up higher so that you can help out with those rallies. And then obviously big events that you want to focus on are going to be events where you can actually get exclusive rewards. So I didn't get an award. I didn't get any of these this time because I'm saving for KVK. But stuff like this, like the Merchant Caravan, would be one, because this is going to give you a stat buff, just a base stat buff. So for these, if you're whaling it out, or if you're not saving for a particular event, it's a good idea to try to spend enough in these events to get these exclusive buildings for your island because as a rally lead, they really, really do make a difference. And then, just kind of as a closing, there's not a ton to say in the rally lead position, other than obviously, focusing on those three things that I mentioned. But one thing that I would say for those, wondering if you're a joiner of a lead or a lead, is just look at the power within your alliance to see, where are people in your alliance and where do you stack up and how much you're actually willing to spend on the game. And I think when people realize this and they understand what role that they're in, you're going to get more enjoyment out of the game because you're not going to feel that pressure to spend way above your means because you're trying to compete with somebody else. I hope this helped out some people, understanding your role, prioritizing the things that you should be prioritizing. And hopefully it helped a few of you out if you have some role confusion, of like what you should be doing in the game. And hope you guys have fun. Take care.